interested in how your characters interact right
So seeing like letting the moment pass, I see it as a runaway.
now. Mm-hmm.
Back up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've seen it before.
I think you guys have had some adventures together. You traveled all the way from Zeif together.
Yeah.
I must have seen it.
Yeah.
So I'm not frightened of it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I might have told you to look away.
Everybody's a little frightened.
I am.
Right.
I'm not disturbed as much.
Right.
anymore.
Correct. Uh-huh.
And I guess I did not see the face. I just saw he was scaring.
Right, but you
for-
did see that somehow he did something dreadful to. There was an unnatural shock of energy,
Yeah.
visual effects that occurred. Not like a superpower, didn't look cool, more like a distortion of reality in front of him.
I just couple into blood.
There was still some dogs just lying down here,
Right.
sleeping.
Yeah, there's some of them are unconscious. Yeah.
Shall we take care of them?
Go ahead.
I totally do my cunning.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I end their life.
Okay. So here's what I want to check. Everybody check each other's blights, please.
Sadness.
Okay.
The burden,
Don't worry about burden for
Yep.
playing it.
paranoia,
Yeah.
and lure of the dark.
Right.
They were kind of going for it.
You could be
So-
sad if you're killing things that
So you calling
technically
my
are out.
you
And
calling
they
my
are animals, yes.
you calling my
I'm-
paranoia?
No, I think she's calling my sadness.
Okay. So what will you do?
I will try to do it, but I can't.
Oh, I see. You won't be able to kill it.
I
Yeah.
won't,
Yeah.
As I reflect on it when I
Right.
come up to them,
It's like, what did it do wrong? Right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they have been like, I think actually it's the one that took and drove
Right.
me away. So I
Right.
know specifically
Right.
it, and I'm lifting the knife
Mhm.
to end it, and it looks like a pup,
Uh-huh.
a tiny pup, or a
Yeah.
big.
I understand
pup.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes. I completely get it. That's fantastic. Okay, I think we're doing the game the way
Yeah.
it works.
And I
Uh-huh.
cannot, so I dropped it with knives and
Yeah.
back away.
Okay. Cool. Let's end the scene here, I think.
All right.
Although I am going to ask you a little bit about you realize, I think, I'm going to say it straightforwardly. Your characters realize you cannot wander randomly across this enormous city hoping to find a thing. You have several resources. You have the rock that is connected to the thing, maybe a piece of it. You have all sorts of abilities and things that you can start thinking about. You have instincts that you can use. Did you exhaust your instincts? I don't think so.
No.
You can exhaust your instincts to find out a clue. You can use arcade to actually change the circumstances that can help you. But I just,
Why did I get
You
things?
invoked my sadness. You get
That's right.
EP.
that's right, you do. Oh, and by the way, everybody gets one more EP because we finished making our characters.
What's an EP?
Experience point.
All right, good, because I have a lot of things that mention EP.
Well, you have so much.
Yeah.
You could buy a new ability right now.
So that one
Yeah.
plus one.
Well, we're not resting right now.
Well, maybe at the rest.
Oh,
You could
yeah.
have done it before we started, though.
True.
So we will begin with some idea. I just wanted to give you some points about what you might want to actually do to do something constructive with your situation. In the meantime, may I see some books, please? Because I want to try this system out.
So what is a dissension? Just wondering.
A dissension is what happens when you go down in your spirit checks. Okay, when you take spirit damage,
All right.
which is called essence,
Oh.
right? Then you cross a threshold and you fail that roll,
All right.
then you undergo a dissension. Your shade darkens.
All right.
Now, the nice thing for you is that you have the burden, which means that you will not go down to black. You will simply gain another gray.
Yeah, repeat gray shade with additional blights. So I
Correct.
just get more and more blights.
You just get grayer and grayer and grayer.
This is bad, crazy.
Mhm. There must be a way for you to become dark taken, but
But it's not through dissension.
it's not through dissension. Yes,
No.
not through that. Yeah. So it just basically means the burden you just suffer.
Yeah. Great.
I would love to be able to offer this choice to more than one character at a time,
All right.
and I don't know if that's allowed.
I can see how that could cause some problems.
Well, it's if it's possible, why not?
If we have the same path. Or...
No. Even if it's 2 by 2, you see, so there would be 4. I would just have to take 2 things into account in making the new situation. So I think I'm going to do it, even though it's less simple. It's going to be harder, but I'm going to offer you the choice between. You can take the path of keeping civilization out of your home,
Yes.
or you can take the path of the concession of hurting your horse.
I will keep up the civilization.
Okay, you will take that path. And for you, I'm going to give you the choice between a concession, I want to see demons, and of the, when you say the great risk will become fruition.
Yeah, one of my backgrounds has a great risk taken.
Oh, I see.
And
Yes.
I
You took a risk, and
now
you pay the price.
I don't know
Right,
if it's a good or bad.
right.
It's
Oh, that's too interesting. I can't improvise off it
No,
now. I have to think more about it
yeah.
first. And the other possibility is that you would find a new bonded animal. There's a chance for a new bonded animal.
Oh.
So, but remember, taking the concession means you get resolved.
Yeah, I know.
And you're pretty badly hurt.
Yeah.
So,
But I have another way to make it resolve.
okay.
So I will
Which
take
is
the
what?
path. I have Wake of the Storm Gods. It costs
that's
1
right.
per act to gain 1 result. So I do
Right.
that now and gain
Okay.
1 result.
I see. Okay. So you're going to choose your path.
Yes.
You're going to choose your path. Correct? So I'm going to keep civilization out of my home and find a new bonded animal.
Yes.
We'll take all this back. And I can only do 2 to do that. That's trying to do that with 3 people is crazy. So and besides, your stuff is a little more social. We want to deal with things with other people, not just wilderness. So what I'm going to do is now make the situation that incorporates both of these.
Yes.
And the first thing is that the rock, right?
Yes.
Is starts to hum. You can feel a vibration like a cell phone. You're like, oh, my phone's going off, and you take out the rock and you realize that if you orient it, the hum grows louder or quieter. So the nice thing about it is that it feels just the way it feels. It feels like when the shamans of your tribe sing. You're like, this is where they got their songs. They were listening to something like this. So that's part of what we're going to deal with. And you say about the new bonded animal, right? Well, it's very clear.
It's one of them.
After a while of traveling, maybe following the hum, right? That you realize that one of the that the very one that you spared, of course, is following you, and is not doing so in an aggressive way. In fact, when you turn and look at it, it just looks at you.
Is it that one that sat down?
The one that sat down originally? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the case or not. I am going to say it's the one that you did not kill, right? That dragged you. Okay, so I think that I would say probably not. That was a deceptive sin. They were trying to convince you. They were like, well, okay, we'll back off a little bit. You are convincing enough. We'll take it seriously, but they're really just setting you up for the strike. Yeah. So if you had succeeded in that, the strike would not have hit you so hard, because they would have backed up. In other words, I would not have penalized you for succeeding. You would have gained a benefit from it. But you failed that role in it. So the sit down was completely deceptive. And you were like, oh, good, they're paying attention. Wham! Right. So now we have finished the scene. We have now started what is called a saga scene, because you have chosen. Each of you chose a path, so each of you gets 1 saga. Okay? You're invoking the storm gods, which means that a storm sweeps in Now this is a big flat area, so that means the storms come in very fast.
Now it's the perfect because I actually read about the ability. Because
Because you have nothing better to do than read this
no,
enormous rule.
not work.
Yes.
I don't know what that is. Of course not. I think I can invoke it at the campsite. It's a campsite
Really?
scene. Yes.
Oh, I thought you could do it anytime.
No, I think it's like a campsite.
Well, that's a little tricky because to get to a campfire scene, you have to already be in a rest.
Yeah.
I think that's bogus. And I like the idea of having a storm whenever
Yeah.
you want. So crash.
Yeah.
Right. So we're just going to. What's the point of Wake of the Storm Gods if you can't have a storm when you want?
And I am riding a bit further back
Right.
against them because I'm having.
You're interested. Yes.
Yeah, it's following me and I'm keeping it.
Okay. So that doesn't mean it's automatic.
No,
we are going to have a situation in which
Yes.
this may be involved. So at this point, the question is whether, yes, as we ride along, and the storm has come down, so it's a real storm too, right? With sudden powerful rain, and you have a good idea. You're getting a good idea of where this thing is because there is a structure. Yeah, but more than that, there's a structure you can see, and it's very clear that when you orient it toward that's where the signal is coming from. So the structure is built into the side of a broken off cliff area. And in fact, is extremely. Remember, this is a fantasy game, so this is an extremely strange and frightening structure that has survived the test of time more than most. From the side, it looks like this. This is a building.
Yep.
From the top, it would look like this.
Oh.
Okay. So you, of course, riding along will probably see it more from this orientation because you're on this level.
Does the hand look like stone structure? Does it just look
Like bone?
It's,
very odd?
I am really tempted to make it be like petrified bone, right? Because that's just cool, right? So, yes, it is petrified bone. And the river that I talked about is this. And then instead of just being flat, featureless white page, these are broken, like where the bridges are and things. These are old, crappy streets and ruins and things like that. But as I say, this structure up here on the cliff above the hand is much more preserved looking than anything else that you have seen. In fact, the original coloration is not the original white of most of this plaza and things like that, but it is, which is now all gray, but is more of a dark green stone that is reasonably well preserved. So that gives us some idea of
Where are we coming from?
You will definitely be coming from one of these bridges, and I think it's perfectly reasonable to have you coming from this one. So, and then this was the map for where some of the other paths and concessions could have led you. I had some idea of what I'm doing this time. So in order to do that, let me pull out my little notes. So, yes. Okay. As you approach, you can hear the voices and the presence of recently dead people. Do you have some spirit sight as well?
No, but I can definitely see and communicate with spirits.
Right.
I'm dead.
Right. At this point, you are not close enough.
No.
You're a ghost friend. And that means that they are actually attempting to reach out to you. You'll have to be a little closer.
Yep.
So that's the first indication. Now, if you wanted to exhaust your instincts, I would tell you lots more. That's something that you just need to know about. And then we have the awareness that underneath this big claw, right in the middle, actually, so just under here,
Yep.
just underneath, not all the way back,
No.
but right there, is there appear to be some objects. It's hard to see. There's a jumble of scattered objects